excuse me, to mythology archives, and I've kind of talked about the Kemetic pantheon a little bit, right? But I wanted to do a little bit of a deeper dive, just because it deserves it. Like, I've actually had the privilege of having some people who really understand. But I wanted to do a little bit of kind of break it down for me. But it's a difficult system really to get your hands around. So I figured, why not kind of start at a basic level, right? Just kind of talking about the entire list, because it's a lot of deities, or netters as they were called, in that belief system, and it's a lot to go through all of them. So let's kind of start with just kind of a general list, knowing that I'm going to build on this, and I'll have some subsequent breakouts and episodes around all these characters. So I've got just an AI presentation. I'm going to talk through this, but I think this is a good way to start if you want to get your Kemetic knowledge up. So let me start this at the beginning, and let's crack into it.
Understanding the Kemetic Pantheon. A beginner's guide. I, the cosmic frame. These are not characters. These are states of existence. Nu, infinite, inert chaos, the unformed cosmos. Nornit, feminine aspect of none.
So this is like the real like power of the foundation of Kemetic belief systems. Start from Nu and Anu.
Amun, the unseen, unknowable source. Amornit, latent creation.
And Amun is still seen as the hidden god, right? He's a principal god. And some people even fashion that when you're saying Amen, that you're really representing Amun. That's how powerful and ancient, at least the ideas of Amun go back. And Amunin as well. And we'll see a lot of these deities in like shown in various ways. Sometimes are unflattering because they'll take the names but not taking the rest of the culture along with it. So that's kind of where we are in terms of talking about some of the ancient gods. Even those have been featured not in correct ways.
Principle. These are pre-identity beings. They don't do stories. They enable reality. 2. The Ogdode. 8 paired principles that stabilize chaos long enough for creation to happen.
Now the Ogdoad to me has always been credited with creation itself. These were the initial vibrations. They vibrated, they caused the ripple that ultimately sparked life.
Hehorhet, infinity. Kekkorkit, darkness. Nun Nornit, waters. Amun Amornit, hiddenness. This is
Again,
cosmic physics.
Amunet, right? Like those are the primary ones. And this is kind of what gives it almost the physics background of the Kemetic belief systems.
Not religion. 3. The Ennead. This is the royal bloodline of reality.
Now, these are the deities, the netters as they were called in their belief system, that we probably know the most, right?
Atom, self-generated creator. Shu, separation,
Wind,
breath.
right? Breath.
Tefnut, balance, moisture. Jeb, earth, fertility. Nut, sky, cosmic enclosure. Osiris, life-death rebirth. Isis, divine intelligence, restoration. Set, disruption, force. Nephthys, thresholds, mourning. This is where politics.
So these are the initial 9. And we know about these 9 because they're the most written about in terms of mythology. Those 9 there really are what most people know when you talk about what they call the Egyptian belief system. These are really who they're talking about. You will hear stories about Isis is what they call her, Asar, right? Ra. You'll hear stories about this 9 repeatedly. So we know Set, right? We know Heru or Horus. We know these deities, and these are going to be the most popular ones. And these 9 here are so intensely powerful that they're talked about in modern times by all different cultures. I just saw a solar commercial, and they were talking about Ra in a solar commercial, right? I saw Isis, as she's known, in other like another commercial. I think there's like a lotion that's so there's all these things that are associated with these top 9. I think the biggest ones, obviously Ra. I think Osiris has really got a lot of legs. I think people know about Set in the streets, right? Horus, Horus has got the fame as well. But these are the core 9 that really carry the mythology forward. But there's so many more that we want to get into, right? So let's get to it, right?
Kingship and cosmic law come from.
The queen makes
4.
the throne.
Solar intelligence.
Now there's a couple of
Ra
ways
is
to look
not
at
one
this.
god, it's a day cycle operating system. Ra, day sun.
So really, Ra is determined by his movements through the sky. Like the early morning Ra, the midday Ra, which is his most powerful incarnation, throughout it. And then he goes on his own. So Ra is always central, and they give different forms to
Kepri,
kind of bring him out.
becoming. Ra Horikti, zenith authority. Atom Ra, completion. Aten, abstract solar force. V Marat system. This is the moral engine of the universe.
Now, I think this is the most important component to walk away with, is understanding Ma'at. At least as it's been instructed to me. Because this is something that they're all balancing to keep in order. Ma'at is, truth, it's justice, it's doing the right thing. It means a balance in the system. So a lot of these deities, their main focus is to maintain Ma'at, or to, show respect for Ma'at.
Marat, truth, balance, justice. Thoth, language, math, records.
Thoth, again, is probably, like I spoke too soon when I talked about the most famous of all the deities, outside of the 9, and he may actually trump everyone, is Thoth. Like, Thoth, we know, is kind of duplicated. Like, they're all duplicated in other cultures, right? Isis is Aset, maybe Ishtar, right? Osiris, Anubis, Anpu. So they all have this. But Thoth is, also Jehudi. He's also Thoth Trismegistus. So he appears in Greek mythology. He appears in other mythologies as this keeper of knowledge. And he has the Book of Thoth, which that man is like supposed to be, the list of all sacred knowledge. So I kind of spoke too soon when I said that the other 9 were the most. Thoth may sit at the top of the list as not only the most famous, but maybe the most important of any of the deities or nectars that came out of this belief system.
Anubis, soul logistics. Amit, system failure.
Yeah, we'll talk about Amit. Like Anubis is another one that we do know. His other name was Anpu, but because he's associated with death, we do get a lot of information on him. And also Amit. Amit is the one who devours a soul. So this is the way I see it. The only way you can actually go away or completely erase her is Amit.
This is law, not vibes. 6. Royal and war aspects. Horus, legitimate rule.
Right, we know his story.
Sekhmet, controlled destruction. Montu.
Okay, Sekhmet is another one that's massively important. Heru, you can read a lot of stories about Heru and his fights against Set. Those are most of his mythologies revolve around this conflict that he has with Set. Then there's Sekhmet, and Sekhmet has an incredible story. She is, in some stories, written as like an aspect of Hathor, right? So plays a major story because she kind of wipes out mankind. And then Montu's probably the best hidden secret of the Kemetic belief system. Because Montu is actually the baddest dude out there, except we don't know it. He actually holds order among all of them.
Battle fury. Wepwoit, scouts, strategy. 7. Creative, sensual, and life powers. Ether, pleasure, music, cosmic motherhood.
So Hathor is like the goddess. She's like the beauty one, right? And Hathor is different than the others because she's all confidence. She's never had a loss, taken a defeat. So Hathor kind of represents that extremely powerful goddess. But her other side, per some mythologies, is also Sekhmet, who is pure mad, and I'm going to slice you into tiny pieces and laugh all the way through it. So she represents this kind of complete goddess. And Hathor is no joke in the sense that she is among the most powerful. She's also represented as a sky goddess. She's also the cow representation. So some people theorize that when you're talking about the biblical book of Exodus and they're talking about the cow, the they were worshiping to, that was Hathor. So she has a lot of mythologies that even go outside of what is named Hathor, the Lady of the Sistrum, one of the more recognizable and important figures.
Bastet, home, cats, grace. Minute, vital force. Biz, childbirth, laughter, warding. 8. Death, night, and underworld operators. Osiris, eternal return.
So this is again a Sar, right? He goes to the dead. He's not a bad guy. He just makes sure that there's continuity in the entire world of the dead. Okay.
Anubis, preservation. Nephthys, protection. Soka, hidden depths. 9. Local, regional, and functional deities. This is where lists explode. These are process gods, not personalities. Happy, annual Nile inundation. Knum, shaping life on the potter's wheel.
Khnum is also associated with the moon, and I think Khnum was kind of the basis for the Moon Knight series. So if you mess with the Marvel Moon Knight series, if I'm correct, they were talking about Khnum was the person that he was, or the nectar that he was drawing on.
Anukit, upper Nile flow and boundaries. Renenutit, harvest, granaries.
She also Renenutet also appears in that series, in her full like hippopotamus form. So like I didn't like the Moon Knight series because it had a lot of stuff wrong, but it did shine a light on a few of the nectars that we don't get to see a lot.
Food protection. Shy, fate as allocation. Think, climate control plus resource distribution. City, craft, and industry gods. These gods exist because cities exist. Ptah, Memphis, creation through thought and craft.
Yeah, Ptah's another name, and I hadn't really thought of him just being associated with the city, but I had always seen him as a larger scale deity because of his association with thought. But I guess it depends on whether it went from being a localized deity to a more national deity. And even Ptah is kind of given, in some myths, given a larger role as being the creator, even within that system.
Soka, funerary industry, necropolis logistics. Tatanen, primordial earth rising, foundations. Kentiketi, local kingship guardian. Banebd Jedit, ram god of Mendes, virility plus authority. This is where Kemetic theology quietly becomes urban planning. Protective deities and household guardians. These gods are everywhere, just not flashy. Biz, childbirth, sleep.
So Bes is another one of those gods that he's important because, they ward off evil. This is how they kept evil spirits away. By making some little small offerings to the right deity who, for specific times. And there was a lot to protect children, women, young women, women who were pregnant, all that stuff was
Warding
taken care of
chaos.
by gods.
Tauret, pregnancy and infant survival. Hekit, birth magic and transformation. Mafdet, venom, scorpions, execution. Renenutit, also overlaps here.
Right.
These are the most used gods, not the most famous ones.
Because these were practical gods. These were like everyday people gods. You weren't necessarily reaching out to them to change your life, but simple things like being safe, having protection. That's why you would go to like Bes, right? And they were easy to please gods, man. They didn't want a lot. Or Naturs. Force is what they were, right? So if you stayed good with them, that typically meant good things were going to happen to you in terms of like your own protection.
Serpent, cobra, and crown powers. Egypt loved snakes for a reason. Wadjet, Lower Egypt, royal uraeus. Neckbet.
Yeah, the uraeus. With these serpent gods, like they were on the crown. So when you hear them talk about the uraeus, they're actually talking about the crown. So both of these, the upper Kemet vulture crown and the lower Kemet, when you have rulership over both, you got to wear the one crown, right? That was it. Like you see LeBron putting on his crown, that's what it meant, was unification of the two lands. So the serpent gods always had particular importance.
Upper Egypt vulture crown. Renenutit, protective cobra, nourishment. Mayhen, cosmic serpent protector of Ra. Apep, chaos serpent. Snakes equals life force, danger, sovereignty, and cosmic threat.
Like snakes were everywhere, and you see some snakes, some serpents were good, some were evil. So there wasn't even like an inherent, like serpents are going to be bad. Even with the cobra, right? They didn't see the animals in that respect, and a lot of times serpents were thought of as bringing a lot of particular wisdom. So that was kind of the importance of the serpents, and it's kind of throughout it. You can see on the crown, on the royal markings, you always see some form of a serpent, or particularly a cobra.
Gate guardians. Horizon and cosmic gates. These entities guard cosmic transitions, not rooms. Acre, Twin Lion Horizon Guardian, Sunrise Sunset Gate.
That's a pretty, the next time when I go through the deeper dive on this, I'll talk about these two and bring up the imagery, because that's an important symbol, and you'll see it all the way and probably didn't even know you were necessarily seeing that.
Ruti, Dual Lions of Yesterday Tomorrow. Shu, Atmospheric Separation at World Boundaries. Function. Access between Sky-Earth Duat. Gate 1. Gatekeeper, Seer. Guardians, Fire-breathing serpents. Requirement, knowledge of Ra's names. Gate 2. Gatekeeper.
Like you see, they're giving you like there's 12 gates in the underworld, right? This is important. I think probably as important as anything else. There's 12 gates in the underworld. Some of these we know what knowledge you have to have going into it, so you can know right off the bat whether you're getting through. It's never brute force. You're never in a fight. It's not like a video game. It's always about your knowledge set, like having the skill or being prepared, sometimes having the right spell to get through the system. But it was never about, it's not going to be a video game where you got to fight the top one, and if you win, you get to go on. It's not that, unfortunately, or fortunately, because you wouldn't have won anyway.
A Tef-crowned guardian. Guardians, knife-bearing watchers. Gate 3. Gatekeeper, she who slaughters. Guardians, decapitators.
Yeah.
Gate 4.
Yeah.
Gatekeeper, he who swallows shadows. Gate 5. Gatekeeper, mistress of anguish.
Like we can see right now, we don't really want a lot to do with these gates. Like if you have to go through these gates, you better fully be ready to go through these gates. They are not playing with you at any of these gates.
Gate 6. Gatekeeper, Osiris. Gate 7. Gatekeeper, Nehebkau, serpent power binder. Gate 8. Gatekeeper, he of the crooked face.
Right.
Gate 9. Gatekeeper, flame-eyed sentinel. Gate 10.
The flame-eyed sentinel. The flame-eyed sentinel. We're just going to let that cook for a little bit.
Gatekeeper, she who knows hearts. Gate 11. Gatekeeper, knife lord of silence.
Wow.
Gate 12. Gatekeeper, Ra reborn as Kepri. Every gate is a security checkpoint, not a trial by combat. Serpent and...
So this is as much to protect them from you, right? Because they don't want you getting access to information and knowledge as you're going through the duat. This is the underworld. Like you're marching along this path that eventually you get, if you survive all that, with all the temptations. And a lot of these things are about temptations more than anything else, right? You'll see some stuff going on, something from your past that maybe was a particular weakness for you. And then like, come on over here, man. If it was gambling, you're going to see like club, whatever it is, for you. And your goal is to resist all these things, all these temptations, while staying on the path to having your heart wait to see if you're actually a righteous dude, right? That's really what's going on there.
Fire guardians. These entities punish misalignment instantly. Nehebkau, serpent guardian, life force binder.
Another snake.
Mayhen, coiled cosmic protector of Ra. Fire serpents, incineration protocols. Urias flame guardians, crown-linked enforcement. Function. Energy control, soul binding, annihilation of unauthorized movement.
I mean, these are all very powerful things, right? Unauthorized movement to the duat. So you don't just show up there and get access. Like this requires that you're sufficient for each layer that you're going through, all the way till you finally get to the point where you get a test at the end. And the test is a pass or fail, right? That's it. And the fail, well, we'll talk about the failure part later.
Judgment and moral assessment entities. The 42 assessors of Marat. Each represents a specific moral violation.
Extremely important. Like there's 42 laws of Ma'at, which is why there are 42 assessors of Ma'at, right? And they're simple things. Like honestly, if you follow the rules of Ma'at, basically you're just a good person. You don't have to be anything extraordinary. You just have to be a cool person. Like to not be stealing from people, not lie, not murder people, right? Like there's some rules to it. Like deal fairly with people. I don't know all 42 of them. But I've done a list of them before, But this is something that, like, this is what's going to get you through. And those 42 assessors all exist, and they are checking all the time, right?
Examples. He who lives on serpents. She of the flaming mouth. Bone crusher of liars. Devourer of the deceitful.
You see this?
Function. Interrogation, verification, confession, validation. Omit.
Right? They're all checking to see who you are. Did you lie? Are you a deceiver? Like, they're going to go through all the 42 like sins that you're not supposed to do. And then if you slipped up there in any way, then you get to meet Amit.
Crocodile, lion, hippo, composite. Role, final erasure, not punishment. Outcome, soul is deleted, not tortured.
Okay, so this is like the real nitty gritty of this belief system. If you mess up so bad, right, they don't have an end. You see, the the underworld isn't hell. It can be scary in some places. And all these gatekeepers, as bad as they sound, they're not bad if you're a righteous person. And I don't mean like you were necessarily royalty. Obviously, it's greater for them. But as a regular person, if you're in the Duat, all you had to do was be a decent person. Not even a great person, right? Kind of a regular person who didn't do bad stuff. So all these like bone crushers and deceit eaters and all that stuff, they don't really matter if you don't fall in the gap in that, right? So if it doesn't, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. That's the narrative here. And if you do get through all that, right, and you somehow get your way through and you meet Amit, this is where it's bad. Because they're not going to send you to hell. That's not what happens, right? You don't get to go on to the next life because you get erased. This is the only erasure in the system. Your soul is devoured by Amit. You are done. And we'll talk about that because obviously that's a big one coming up, right? That's the crux of it right there.
This is system cleanup, not hell. V enforcers, executioners, and demonic operators.
Of which are a lot.
These beings carry out automatic consequences. Barbie, violent enforcer, virility, and rage. Amher, devourer of millions.
Says everything you need
Knife
to know.
bearers, execution spirits. Decapitators, identity termination agents. They do not judge. They execute outcomes. 6. Liminal and threshold spirits. These entities exist only at crossings. Door spirits. Stair guardians. Waterway watchers. Shadow recorders. Often unnamed. Often plural. Their power comes from placement, not identity. 7. Chaos interruption entity. APEP. Eternal Serp.
Now, APEP is the biggie, right? If Ma'at is the balance of the system, all he wants to do is mess that up. That's all APEP ever thinks about. From the moment he wakes up, he's thinking about destroying the entire system until he goes to sleep. And then when he goes to sleep, he dreams about destroying the entire system, right? So he's the guy whose first thing on his mind is, he's like, where's Ra? Every night, Atun Ra descends into the underworld, and what all APEP is trying to do is destroy him. Now, I'm going to tell you the crazy thing, because when we get to the section on talking about APEP, man, I'll go deep into this guy. Because APEP literally has disciples right now. Like, I'm not joking. There's a guy in prison right now who's like, I'm a disciple of APEP. I'm out to spread chaos in the world. And he did so until a guy landed in prison for killing a bunch of people. So APEP's disciples are working right now. People actually believe this stuff. And so we've seen it come out. So APEP's not sitting back hiding. APEP is live and direct.
Of uncreation. Attacks Ra's bark nightly. Never destroyed, only repelled. Role. Stress test the system. If Marat fails, APEP wins. Star, time, and Decan deities. Star deities and celestial intelligence. These are stellar anchors, not planets as gods. Sopdet, heliacal rising, New Year trigger, Nile flood signal. Saw, Osirian afterlife constellation. Sepidet, renewal and rebirth cycles. Mesectiu, imperishability, circumpolar stars. Imperishable ones, stars that never set, eternal soul state. Pharaohs aimed to become circumpolar, not solar. 4. timekeeping deities. These are non-visualized powers. He, infinite time, endlessness. Diet, eternal, unchanging time. Nihe, cyclical time. Key insight. Egyptians distinguished between looping time and fixed eternity long before physics did. V, seasonal and calendar gods.
Super important.
The year
right?
is divided into 3 seasons. Akhet, inundation. Peret, emergence. Shimu, harvest.
So this is all obviously related to the flood. In inundation, obviously life along the Nile River, the inundation brought water. It also brought all the fertility, and that's what made the land fertile. So they looked forward to the flooding, and this was part of their cycle.
Associated forces. Happy, flood timing. Sopdet, calendar reset. Renenutit, harvest protection. Time is agricultural before it's philosophical. 6. Night watchers and our guardians. Each hour of night is guarded by star-linked spirits, fire guardians, knife-bearing watchers, named serpents. They prevent time collapse, enforce sequence, destroy premature movement. Skipping hours equals system violation. 7. Decans as medical and magical forces. Decans were used for diagnosing illness, timing spells, predicting danger days, protective amulets. Each decan had favorable days, dangerous days, neutral days. Astrology, but with consequences. 8. Cosmic alignment and kingship. Pharaohs. Aligned pyramids to stars. Timed burials to decans. Used stellar rebirth myths to justify rule.
So that's kind of the beginning of what we would call, the Kemetic pantheon, and it gets really, really deep. Like the number of deities that we kind of need to have under our grasp is pretty staggering. But I'm going to start in a pretty slow fashion. This is just kind of round one. I will expand all these out, but I've already expanded them out. But I want to go in some small incremental bits that we can kind of go back and forth in the comments. We can ask questions and have conversations. So this is the first kind of peek, especially in this format, talking about the Kemetic deities, but we're definitely going to be back. So if you enjoy that, go and hit that like and subscribe so you can get the next round. I'll probably have the next one up on these in the next couple of days. I'll make an announcement before I get back into them. The feed that I ran, that it just goes through all the gods for you guys, I'm just going to load that up on the channel. That'll be on my YouTube channel, so you can go back and kind of go through that for your own reference at any time. Definitely appreciate it. You can drop your comments and all that stuff in there, so it'll be there for you. I'm going to log out of here right now, but I'll be back, like I said, with some other stuff I want to talk about today. Looking forward to engaging with you guys as an audience. Thank you again to the TikTok followers. I'll be back with a lot more information for you. All right, guys, we got those guys out of the way, and we're just on YouTube now. Again, that was a good session. I'm kind of laying out for you guys how I want this to go, and you guys can definitely be a part of that. I'm looking forward to kind of getting involved with you guys and going through the system, and just kind of having some fun as we're learning